A little later than usual. So sorry. We are trying to stay on some sort of a time schedule. I just wanted to let everyone know that Saturday night we will not be broadcasting. We generally don't broadcast Friday night, but we also won't be broadcasting Saturday night. Great to see you back. So much is going down. The whole tone of this revolution is picking up. In my opinion, it just seems like the shift is the shift is hitting the fan. It's everything at once. I think the thing that impressed me, or the piece of information that impressed me the most at this point, was a piece from, hey, Benjamin, thanks for being there. Starfire, grand evening. They say that in the era of Mashiach, hey, Jimmy Johns, in the era of the Messiah, that every day will seem like Shabbos, and that's how it kind of is for us. Easter is his timeline. Yeah, I don't know about timelines. I wouldn't say I don't. I just don't go there, because this is the shift is it's not about time. It's not about, in my opinion. I mean, you know, no offense, Starfire, but I'm done with timelines. I mean, that we've been looking at the timelines for so many years now. It's not time is not linear. I know that sounds like a really weird thing to say. The energy is strong. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, Starfire. I'm just saying it's to me, it's just erroneous detail that, if it happens tomorrow, if it happens in 2 years, if it happens in 10 years, if it happens, it's just, we've been dealing with that kind of issue for such a long time that it's just not, it's not a concern at this point to me. I'm not saying that you're not right. You could be right. It's just the shift. We've been examining this for the last couple of days, that the shift is essentially an individual shift. But when enough individuals shift, then the whole context shifts. The whole collective shifts. We're definitely in a powerful time. I just want to touch on this one piece by Victor Hansen, because it represents to me a kind of a completion of an era, that we are coming to the end of something that was started by Roosevelt, basically, that Roosevelt started this whole liberal revolution. Yeah, you could argue the central bank in 1913, the Depression, but the level of fraud now, the level of fraud being conducted as if it's completely normal, the level of fraud that the Doge Committee and these people are finding, the billions that are stolen from taxpayers with no concern, no regret, no feeling of, I shouldn't be doing this. It's just blatant arrogance on a grand scale. So the idea that Roosevelt's liberalism has ended up many years later as gross criminal corruption and fraud on a scale that is unimaginable. We're talking billions of dollars. We're talking of opening up hundreds of these offices across the country that nobody ever does anything with. The level of fraud is so outrageous, and that's where you might get this idea, but it strikes me about Roosevelt very strongly that if you go off from your direction, if you go off, let's say you're a hiker or whatever, and you go off a few degrees from your course, over time you're going to end up on a completely different trajectory. And that's what has happened to our world. So but now we are on the precipice. We are on the edge of such a tremendous reversal in the other direction that it's staggering. It's absolutely staggering the level of of chess. Here's another aspect that really strikes me now. The level of strategy, the level of patience, the level of competence, of genius, really, of Donald Trump and the White Hats is also completely off the charts. I'm thinking about this whole thing with the Strait of Hormuz, that they identified all these people who didn't want to help out, and they're kind of making like, okay, you know what? Well, you guys can take care of it. It really has nothing to do with us. Why don't you guys take care of it? The UN's going down, NATO's going down, all these organizations, all these non-governmental organizations that stole and stole and stole. Add to that some other things. I'm just going to start showing clips because it's late. But this let me just go to my feed for a second. Oh no, that's the wrong one. Wait a minute. I'm going to, let me just check. Okay, I didn't queue it up. So let's go to here. This post, I want to play this post because, okay, I want to play this post because in the scheme of things, in the scheme of my life, for example, things occur in a certain way. I feel that I'm heavily guided, as we all are. I don't think I'm unusual. I think that maybe I pay attention a little more than others. But recently, I've been, when I work in the garden, I've been having flashbacks, and this is, I'm only sharing this to show you how consciousness could possibly work. But I'm working in the garden, and I'm getting all these images of my uncle. My uncle was like a gentleman farmer, not a gentleman kind of guy, kind of a rough, gruff kind of. He and his father owned a very successful food business in New York City, but he was a gruff kind of guy. And I'm getting all this imagery about Uncle Fred. All of a sudden, Uncle Fred. So I reached out to his sons. He has three sons, and they played a tremendous part in the early years of my life. These guys were like my heroes. They were my friends, and my family used to live in the gardener's cottage. We were building a house in Scarsdale, and while we were building the house, we lived in their gardener's cottage above their garage. My little brother was born there, born at that time. But for some reason, my memories are going back to that. Yeah, I haven't spoken to my cousins in years, many years. Maybe, off and on, maybe a email here, email there, but it's been like 10 years. All of a sudden, I felt compelled to write to them. But this time period that I am revisiting here brings me back to this post. It reminds me of this post because when I grew up, I was raised by my mother and father who were liberals. They considered the reconstruction after the collapse, after the Great Depression. They considered Roosevelt to be the greatest of the greatest. And we traveled a lot. They were very active parents, and we were always looking at things, and we'd be looking at things like the Kensico Dam, these tremendous projects that were built during the Depression, supposedly. Now, looking back, knowing what we know now, were they really built during the Depression? I don't know. I think they were built during the Tartarian times. But the point is that for some reason I'm drawn to this. I'm drawn into this time period, and this post just hits home to me. And I think it shows a decisive revolution, a decisive turn in the history of our world in a kind of an old fashioned way that is heart rendering to me. So listen to this clip because it's very powerful. Let me just start it up. I hope you're getting the beginnings of these.
Calculus and the nature of government, since FDR did it from the left during the New Deal of the mid 1930s. And what do I mean by that? Donald Trump closed the border. He's basically declared war on DEI, and he's winning that argument. Abroad, we see that Iran no longer poses a nuclear threat for the immediate future. The universities are rushing and competing with each other to cut a deal with Donald Trump. Trump is winning on all of these social and cultural issues. What he's trying to do is tell the American people that the left exercises power even when they do not control government, any branch of government, and they exercise power even though on most of the issues, if not all of them, their constituency is only 40%. The majority of the American people oppose their agenda. We're going to see in the next year a frenzy, a frantic, almost out of mind reaction from the left, because they know that if this counter-revolution succeeds, it'll be very difficult for them to push down an unpopular agenda down the throat of the American people. So brace yourself. We're looking at the resistance coming up to the counter-revolution, and it's going to be fierce and unhinged.
That is, to me, a very powerful statement. The counter-revolution. This is a monumental experience we are going through, a monumental revolution in consciousness on all levels. There are many posts with this kind of weight behind them in today's looking through the information stream today. I saw a lot of things that were just big. It's like you guys were saying that something big is happening, and I agree with it. I mean, Starfire. I don't say you're wrong about the timeline. It makes my heart sink when people talk about timelines. I'm sorry. It's just a personal thing. Just because I think it's debilitating for me to think that way, because I would have stopped doing this a long time ago. If I listened to every prediction about when it's really going to happen, because I've been doing this for like 10 years, and every month, every single month, without fail, I don't ever remember a month that didn't have in the forecast that next month it's all going down. I would have gone berserk a long time ago if I started taking stock in all the times where they said it's going down. Now, recently I put out a a fake executive order about all the patents being unleashed, the 6,000 patents. This is part of Jasara. And people said, well, it really wasn't true. That kind of future thinking may not be factually true, but it is an indication, and it is not, in my mind, an untruth if there wasn't an actual executive order that said they're all getting arrested. This was about the doctors who withheld the cures. They were all getting arrested. I think they've already been arrested. That's my personal take on it. I'm guessing that none of them are doing the regular jobs. I mean, I think they're probably all in Gitmo, but that's just, I don't have proof. I don't have actual proof of that. And, people say, who does your fact checking? I'm not interested in that level of reality of like saying this really happened, because, okay, I'm going to go off on a slight tangent here, because according to modern physics, reality is not physical in the way that we think of it. That an electron can be a wave or a particle, depending on how you look at it, depending on what you're thinking. Okay, so in terms of 3D reality, of physical reality, of this is true and this is not true, it means nothing to me. I'm not interested. And people, accuse me, how can you say this? It's not true. I'm like, well, because it is true in 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 consciousness. In other words, it is an idea to be explored, and that is being explored, and that is unfolding, like the 6,000 patents. We may not have all 6,000 patents, but it is clear, to me at least, that it's coming, and that we'll have flying cars. I've seen these kinds of posts: flying cars, 0 point energy. We're not going to have to worry about gasoline production or gasoline prices for much longer, I don't think. But these are currents, so I would not say that they are not true. I mean, people who think like that this is true and this is not true, um, may be working on, like, we saw this film the other day, yesterday, I think, of like level one, where they don't really question the big picture, the big reality. They basically, everything is, it's either this or that. It's true or it's not true. In my way of thinking, things aren't that clear. I wish I could go back to thinking like that, but honestly, I don't know if I ever really was able to think in pure level one terms. That there have been times in my life that I've tried to adhere to the basic principles of the society, but it's always like a kind of a, knuckle up. It's kind of like I'll hold my breath and my nose, and I'll try to be in the I'll try to be like a normal person. It's generally not a very healthy place for me to be, although it's a transitional phase that always leads to something really monumental in my life. Only say that because Trump said, right, the COVID should be over by Easter. Think about Easter. Yeah, listen, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, like, I just, and I admire you if you really can still think in terms of timelines and when it's all going to be over and that kind of thing. I admire you if you can do that at this point. I cannot, because, like I said, for every single month for the last 10 years, the change is coming. April 1st, April 2nd, Trump said it, April 2nd. He put, now this supports your view. Trump put out some kind of post today that said in 11 days everything is going to change. So we're talking about it's the 18th today. Yeah, it's the 18th, and 11 days will be like the 30th. April, April 1st is not far away. So it could very well be true. I just I just think that given the scope of this transitional time period, that all bets are off. And I'm willing to entertain the idea that, yeah, April 2nd everything's going to change. I'm willing to like hold that in the back of my mind, but I'm not willing to give it full clearance in terms of, okay, I'm in, man. April 2nd, and now it's March, so it's April 2nd. Last month it was February, and in February it was March 15th or March 18th or whatever. And it goes back for years and years and years. Every month was like, I'm just going to hold on because next month it's really happening. So I don't disagree that it's quite possible that everything changes. I think it's quite possible that everything already has changed. I really believe that the biggest shift in our awakening from first level consciousness, where everything is just, it is what it is. We live in this world and we elected these people, and I mean we are so far into the next world, the creation of the great awakening. We're so deeply, we're so far through the portal, in my opinion. I think we're already there. I mean, I think it's kind of like where you're conscious. It's like in the law of attraction. You think about something, you were here when I was trying to figure out, like, how am I going to get a trailer? I was like, I don't, I really have no idea. How can I do it? It's like, I went to a trailer store. I asked a lot of people about it. I went up to other guys with trailers. I said, that's a beautiful trailer. Where did you get it? I started to think about it, and then and then bam, it just came to me. And so in that respect, because of our thinking and because of this channel and channels like ours, I assume there are other channels like ours. I can't say that for sure. I mean, I think we're on the cutting edge of things. I used to, when I first started this, there was that guy who had some kind of computer program where he analyzed language, but he was very angry, and he was convinced that the whole thing that we were all going to be going into a kind of a demonic, a ghoulish future where everyone is going to, like, all the COVID people were going to become zombies, a zombie apocalypse. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about, but he was like a scientist kind of guy. He was very compelling and very interesting to me. I haven't seen him in years. I guess I must have, changed. April 1st is the original New Year Day. Yeah. Gone, not fine. Yeah, I really like your regular podcasts and how you always cover XRP. Yeah, well, I will touch on XRP as well, because I think there was a clip I saw today that said, while we're all watching Iran. Okay, so let me just get out of my mouth some of the things that really impressed me today. One was and I will get back to the XRP thing. What you always put out like kind of the same posts. I don't know if you're a troll or real. I assume you're real, but somebody put out a post about how the economy is changing, but somebody put out a post today that I thought was really important. I don't know if I could find it. I probably could, but it would take a little time. But they were saying that the place where they manufacture the disgusting chemicals that go into the chemtrails is in Iran, and that the Allied forces, Israel and the United States, have bombed this facility. That's a very interesting thought, and it doesn't need to be verified whether it's true or not. It's unimportant. But the idea, and this gives credence to the idea that it has nothing to do with the Iranian people. I mean, the Iranian people they are done. They are at the V for Vendetta stage with their government. They are out in the street. They are actively attacking the security forces that have been killing them. This is V for Vendetta. This is the end of the movie in Iran. It's done. And really, in essence, the whole mirage, the whole camouflage, the lying media, lying doctors, lying lawyers, lying politicians, lying air, food, water, the whole lie that this situation, that this civilization is running by certain rules. John Locke. Okay, I also saw a video about John Locke. I'll probably try to find that. But the idea that these chemtrail chemicals could be made in Iran, that shows you how the deep state operates. It's not because they were attacking, I mean, they were attacking the world. But this is the deep state. This is the reptilians. This is the hybrids. This is evil incarnate. This is the 13 bloodline families that want to eliminate us. We are no longer useful to them. In fact, we are rising up against our masters, and they are not happy about it. Like Victor Hansen said, they are going to go nuts. I also saw a thing that was saying that the liberals, this is from a member of the Russian intelligence community, was saying that liberals are never the end game, that liberals are always used by the powers in the shadow, and then when the powers in the shadow have the kind of change that the liberals perpetrate against mankind, they kill off the liberals. The liberals are not meant to end up winning the world. That's just according to this guy from the Russian intelligence services. That the name of the organization escapes me at the moment, but he was saying that the liberals are always going to be killed in the end because they're just essentially useful idiots. Just to mention, Brian Best with Spiritual Bean Coffee. He is open on Sunday in Prescott from 9 to 4. He's changed his hours, so I wanted to mention that. Brian and I are lifetime buddies. I mean, he sends me coffee like all the time. He doesn't have to send me coffee. I will still stand by him. It's just because once you find somebody who is able to, you don't operate on the level. It's not like you keep score. It's like, well, you owe me $6.30. Once you meet somebody like that, who's on the same level of being able to give without keeping score, it's just, you have a permanent relationship. And that's my relationship with Brian. So I heard it was 9/11. Yeah. No other podcasts help me believe I can rise up out of the negativity and create my own reality. Well, thank you so much for saying that, Angel Girl. But I really believe it, and I really, I don't know why other podcasters don't have this message. It's because they believe in a third dimensional reality, and like I said, in physics, there's no reality out there. This is not a solid world. A rock is not a rock. It's a bunch of electrons whirling around so fast that it seems solid. I know. I mean, rocks are us out here, man. I mean, I've dealt with every size rock you can imagine, and I've moved some rocks that are big, much bigger than me. I've learned how to move rocks by using their own weight against them. By digging under them, it's not something I would recommend. Don't try this trick at home, kids. But you dig under like a big rock that you want to move. You can you can get it to move by undermining it and rolling it over using its own weight and kind of against itself. The force is a flow. Yeah, the force is the flow. Really, we are guided by the force. I was telling some we Daniela went to get her hair cut. God bless her, because she wanted to get her hair cut a few days ago, and I was like, Daniela, we have to make sure we have certain obligations that I said we can't spend any money right now, and she was not really happy with it, but she was like, okay, I understand. And then today I said, okay, let's go get your hair cut, and we met this nice person, and she just was, Daniela and her were having a very nice discussion, and I started talking to this woman as well, and I explained to her. I said, We are not normal in the sense that miracles happen to us continually, like things just happen, and the force we use the force, but this force is available to all of us. And that's what the creepazoid, the parasites don't want us to find out. You are all completely connected to the divine force. I don't like to say God because God has the religions made God into something weird. But if so, what the parasites try, their goal is to keep you in the fear space, so you can't operate, so you can't just relax. It's kind of like meditating. Once you get into a relaxed state where your thoughts aren't chemtrailing your mind with poison, you receive. Kabbalah means receive. You receive godliness. You receive the knowledge of what you're about and what you're supposed to do next. You don't have to worry like, what am I going to do now? I mean, I often rely on Daniela for that. I'll say, what should I be doing now? Because a lot of times I don't know. I don't know what I'm really supposed to. I mean, I'm always open to whatever is coming. I don't have like a fixed, okay, I have to do this here. It's like, okay, I'm going out to do stuff, and whatever appears in my flow is what I do. And that's what I'm trying to express and share with people here, is that anybody can do it. And you can transform your life completely and continually, and you will never be fixed again. You will never be, okay, this is me for now. I'm staying this way for 10 years. That will never happen if once you're in tune with your own force. Okay, so I got off a little off tangent. Use your forks, right? Use the forks. That's very interesting. Danielle and I have different sized forks. I use a big fork and she likes a little fork. What does it mean? I don't know. I just like a big fork. She likes a little fork. Maybe I'm more of a fresser, more of a overeater. I don't know. But anyway, okay. So the idea that the chemtrails, this disgusting whatever it is being produced in Iran doesn't surprise me, because it's not Israel against Iran. It's the deep state against the white hats. The white hats in Israel, the white hats in the United States, against this deep state, which operates throughout underground and across, is transnational, as Brian Cates so brilliantly. There are a few people that I really really enjoy daily. I look forward to hearing them. One is Brian Cates. He nails it every day. He's right on top of it, and he sees through the illusion. The illusion, I've said many times, the illusion is it's China. It's the Chinese Communist Party that's making this big. It's Russia. It's Ukraine. It's the liberals that are doing that. If you're thinking like that, you're totally, in my opinion, off base. You're clueless. You have no concept of what is going on. Now, I think people on our channel understand to the best of our ability that it's the deep state in China. It's the deep state in Iran. It's the deep state to whatever's left in Russia. The Russians have been, remember, they are the Tartarians. They have been fighting this force for eons, probably. Yeah, I'm just looking at the numbers. The numbers are pretty good today. I mean, I think my numbers are generally going up, which shows me that people are getting more and more these podcasters who are like anti-Trump and anti-Israel and they're being exposed. Who's that guy? I never remember his name, but they're all being exposed as Peter Bannon, not Peter Bannon, is Steve Bannon? Yes, Steve Bannon. These kinds of guys, they're Parker, whatever that guy's name is. Anyway, we don't live in, and that's probably at the end of the day, when you want to talk about timelines, we're coming into a timeline where time will not matter, where we'll always be in Shabbos mode. That's really where we're going. That's the end game. That's where we're heading. Whether we'll be there in April or in 5 Aprils from now doesn't matter, because once you understand that we're heading for the promised land, what difference does it make? The Yidden were in the midbar, in the desert for 40 years. Remember that God would not let them come. God would not let Moses come into the promised land because Moses struck the rock, and he should have talked to it. Do you know that on Tisha B'Av, I don't know if you guys know this, but Tisha B'Av is the 9th of Av, and Tisha B'Av was the day that the spies gave this negative report to Moses that they're too big for us and we can't fight them, and really confounded Moses and Aaron and Pinchas and the people, the white hats of the day. But that on every 9th of Av for 40 years, or maybe 38 years, every Tisha B'Av, the evening of Tisha B'Av, every man in this story would dig a grave for himself and spend the night in the grave, because they all died out. Like they would die. I guess they would die on the 9th of Av. And after 40 years, some of the guys who were doing this were alive. That, it. I've always had a problem with the Q post that says the end is not for everyone, because I want to see everyone cross the finish line. That's I like people. I like people. I don't want bad things to happen to people. I mean, the creeps. I said today that if you see a chemtrail, you should pray that the plane should drop out of the sky, and and he should have like 9 minutes of panic of insane panic as the plane crashes to the ground for perpetrating these crimes against humanity. But those are criminals. Most people don't spray toxic chemicals. Although I've seen people, I like innocent people that work for the government with these big like chemical packs spraying the weeds around the courthouse. I mean, yuck, yuck. Um, you started to tell us the top people that you listen to. Can you tell us who they are? Yeah, you can come to my X channel. It's eWebstar13, and you can see who I listen to. But yeah, Brian Cates is one. I like this woman. I don't really know her name, if her name is Rothman or Boyd, but the one who has the posts about Trump fighting the British. She likes to call it the British. I don't like to call them British because I think that it's the reptiles. But that's probably why I have 20,000 subscribers and not 300,000 subscribers. I could tell you, I guess as I'm not really sharing a lot of these things with you. I'm just giving you an overview. Okay, let's go back to the thought stream. But you're right. The end isn't for the cabal, right? But there are a lot of like level one people that probably won't change necessarily, and it could be that we're going into. I mean, that's what. Uh, oh gosh, my names are not going, but that's what the prophets are saying, that we're going into different worlds. Hey, Carrie, 5% of the people will never understand. Yeah, exactly. The end isn't for the cabal. Yeah. Uh, please God, you started to tell us. Yeah, I would say there's Brian Cates, and there are a couple other ones that I listen. I like Zachary Fisher. I think his posts are brilliant. I get a little tired of it because it's kind of idealized, but it's beautiful. It's very. I mean, he's consistently every day putting out really wonderful, hopeful, inspiring posts. So Zachary Fisher, and Brian Cates. There are a few others. There's one called Observing Consciousness that I really like. I would say those are the major ones, and this woman. But let me go to the thought stream, and let's. The biggest revolution is the evolution of consciousness. Yes, 100%, Jason. I totally. That's really what this is about. It's not about the economy. I do want to mention the economy because I saw this post that said, while we're all watching bombs falling in Iran, the economy has been completely changed for the better. That crypto is now basically, it's been adopted by the SEC. All the banks have already been switched over. Now, this was supposed to happen, what, March? Remember when this was supposed to happen in November? Right? They told us November. They're all the ISO. Everyone has to go ISO 222 coin in November, and that's why Starfire. It would break my heart if I get, because I was expecting all this to go down in November. I was expecting my XRP to go to the moon and live happily ever after, and maybe hire my friend to come and help me build up here. There's a guy who has been up here, who's very, very skilled, has a lot of different skills, heavy machinery and everything else. He just knows stuff. He showed me how to install a toilet on the ranch. He told me how to do like how to just stick a toilet on top of a drain pipe on top of your septic system, and so you had a toilet. I mean, reverse rapture takes out the reptiles. Yeah, it could be, but I don't think. I don't like Bo Poloni. I don't like him at all. I don't like his whole thing. I don't like the whole shtick. Q said we are not prophets. I no offense to you, but I just don't like him. It doesn't appeal to me. But I will say this. Daniela has known that I have changed and that I am no longer afraid to hang out with people who love Jesus. It doesn't bother me the way it used to. I'll never believe in Jesus the way they do. I consider myself a Jew, even though I'm not practicing heavy duty Orthodox. I just, the idea that, but I don't want to, I'm not going into that, but I'm just saying that, like, okay, I'm seeing, like, I'm not afraid to say the word, even though there's no J in Hebrew and that kind of thing. But it's all downhill from here. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think it's all downhill. I think it's all uphill. I think it takes a while to implement ISO 222. Yeah, well, that's what you're saying. You're seeing the SEC come out now, but apparently all the banks have already completely changed over. It's just, it's maddening to me to hear people talk about how Tether. Okay, here's an interesting tidbit for those who are like XRP type people. They're saying that the Iranians had the biggest Bitcoin mining operation in the world, and that has all gone to hell. So that's why there's been some fluctuation in the price of Bitcoin. I cannot wrap my mind around why anyone would buy Bitcoin. I probably, in retrospect, I would be a wealthy man if I had held on to my Bitcoin. But in all good consciousness, I don't want to make money from something I don't believe in. That's not, to me. I know that sounds crazy. Like, just take the money, Elliot. No, I don't want to make money that way. I want to make money buying something that really works, that's really good for people, that really transforms the financial landscape, which is XRP and XLM, HBAR, and a couple other coins. Those are the only three coins I believe that were mentioned of the ISO 220. Cardano maybe, or Algorand, I'm not sure. Can I have a little more of this, baby? Thanks. Replace the J with an H, and you get Jesus. Yeah, it's Yeshua was apparently his name. We have there are records in Talmud about him, but it's untenable to me. I was watching a video today where they said that there were like a zillion books taken out of the testaments, the New and Old Testament. That the Ethiopians had all the things, and one was the Book of Enoch, which talked about the Nephilim, the fallen ones. He's us. Yeah. Oh, I get it. I get it. Yeah. That's what I think. That's what I think. That's the whole point of me. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. He's us. I like that because he's us. And that's the point. Was he pissed about the monetary fraud in the temple? Yeah. And are we pissed about the monetary fraud in these NGOs? Yeah. And the fact that they built all these luxury palaces for themselves underground, and they travel and they have med beds. Does that piss us off? Yeah. He's us. I like that. So you got free Bitcoin when I opened my Kraken account. I traded it for, yeah, that's what I did. I traded it all for XRP. Whatever, it is what it is. But Bitcoin is mentioned as one of those things that is a commodity, and that makes sense. It's a commodity. It's a store of value. Similar, there's likening it to gold. The problem with me with Bitcoin is that it's backed by Tether, which is a scam like fiat, and that all these banksters, like you see, the deep state in Iran, they make their money mining Bitcoin, and it's an energy guzzler, and it doesn't work very well. All these things to me just I don't see. Ethereum also. It's not a very efficient technology. he knew. But I mean, it's like, do we really need somebody to tell us how do we really need somebody from the outside of to I mean, I think we know, you know, we us, it's just we come here knowing. That's what that video we saw a couple days ago about the 7 levels. We're born. I just remember when I was a little kid, man, I knew, the things I'm discovering now are just like I'm just returning to when I was 3 years old. It's like, yeah, you were right then. And now, now I have a little bit of knowledge to go with it. The fool card, the magus, the magician is also the fool. He's also childlike. Okay, so let me go to the thought stream for just let me at least try. Okay, let's see. Language, the heart. Right. Okay, let's just go for a few minutes to this. Okay, so we had this thing from. Let me just make this a little bigger for a minute. I don't like, because now I can't see the comments. But let me just go. Okay, this is my feed. Let's just go to a few things. This is great. This is interesting. The Russian Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov. The topic of Epstein is to do with exposing the collective West and what is called the deep state. It is no longer a state, but a deep alliance that rules the West and is trying to. Okay, it's completely beneath human. Yeah, I just got reset. Okay, so whatever. All right, so let me keep going here. Can I move it? Drag to move. It won't move. All right, stop sharing. Okay, they put me in. They just deplatformed me again. All right, so what am I going to do now? Let's try this. Okay, yeah, I'm back. Okay, so I got my. I thought they deplatformed me again, but the Messiah's name is Yeshua, means salvation. The Holy Spirit. Yeah, I just don't like the whole. I don't like it. It's just unpleasant for me. I don't want to go into it, but I'm Jewish, and it's like that. This guy, a Jewish guy, is held up as this God that's gonna, that's the great example for all mankind. I think that you are the one that he's us, like he says. Anyway, let me see if I can go back to. For some reason, I got bounced off of all my platforms. Let me go see if I can go back to square one. All right, this makes it big. I can't get out of this now. All right, well, at least I have your posts here. That's a good thing. I don't know. Let me try it. Let me see if I can go back. Okay. Yeah, now I can scroll. Okay. Discovery of ivermectin. This is, this is so frustrating. Remember when the media laughed and said ivermectin was only for horses and cows? They knew it was made for people since 1987. They didn't tell you that it cures cancer and all this other cool stuff. LH Gray, this is interesting because this shows you that, gosh, why is it doing this? This is showing you that CNN has been taken over by the white hats, and they're now saying nice things about Trump. Mascaria, it's Mascaria, to quote from a known preacher, things greater than XRP, silver, Zim. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Anyway. Okay. So this is CNN saying that people still love Trump. Now, this is a brilliant, brilliant post. I don't know how much of this I want to share, but basically this gentleman who's named Brandon James. Oh gosh, I can't see it. Let me just go up. Brandon James Hoai says the fundamental principles of law, John Locke style. And what he is saying, which is quite brilliant, is that is that if the government is no longer serving the people, if the government is not doing nice things for us, that it is our duty, it is our responsibility that they no longer are considered the government. That's John Locke. In my, that's what it seems like. Okay, this is XRP. Let me just see what this says. Most people think an insurrection means violent riots, or civil disobedience. This is not the case. An insurrection contains an element of trying to overthrow the government or disruption of the law. The Democrats trying to prevent secure elections, that's an insurrection. Yes, indeed. Okay, cue the storm rider. President Trump, we've been doing this for 9 years. And in days, we won't be doing this anymore. We'll be doing other things. Right. 9/11. You're right. So it's a little bit sad because there has never been anything like this done in the history of our country. So he could be telling us that the truth of 9/11 will now be revealed to the world. That could be what that means. I don't know. Um, if you can see through the illusion, you are part of the solution. I like that a lot. They took this man's property not because they needed it, but because they wanted it. He built something roughly worth 400,000, gave him 175,000 for it, and then they made it into big condos. They told him they were going to make it into a firehouse. Um, you're watching events unfold that will be written in history books as the pivotal turning point for all of mankind. Global powers are maneuvering, positioning, preparing for what some call the storm. Eyes open, nothing can stop what's coming. The things that will be set in motion in these next few days will change the course of humanity forever. It upsets me that this brave Iranian individual has been posting with Starlink from inside the war zone, risking his own life with nearly zero attention to his message. He speaks his mind of 90 million people. This war is worth it if the regime change follows. Okay, saying they got to get rid of this tyrannical, fundamental religious, radical Muslim idiots. This is an interesting post. It says that there are very few elevator repair people, and that it's a great profession, and the starting salary is 100,000. Why aren't young people being taught to repair elevators? They go to college and they become totally useless. How this is a great post. This is a person I definitely respect, Joel Lang. I've seen some posts from him, but how do you transform the entire world in a way that doesn't create complete chaos? Cut off the money and make these corrupt institutions compete with institutions that focus on transparency and accountability along with results. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute because uh, I want to make sure that you guys are still getting this. I can't be sure that the platform is kind of quirky right now, but greetings from Connecticut. Hey, great to see you guys. Justice is the one constant in an ever-changing universe. 9/11 is part of the Epstein files, right? Old man Bush and Epstein, exactly. What do you get if you mix King David with Abraham Lincoln, FDR? I just had a moth crawl down my shirt. Okay, so let me just. Okay, so I think we've gotten a general smattering of the. Why is it like this? I can't. Um, let's go to Let's try this. No, then I'm totally gone. It's just, the quirkiness of the internet right now. It's pretty interesting. At any rate, I do want to mention also. I want to mention our sponsor in a way, LifeWave, and I want to just say this for to remind you that we figured out, that Daniela and I figured out, what do we order every month, and we order, what did he call the X39, X49?
Performance pack.
The performance pack. It's discounted. The performance pack has X39 and X49, and the Y age patch. I don't know why I didn't figure this out before, because it takes me a while to process things. But the Y age patch has carnosine, antioxidant that deals with your heart and mind and your brain and your organs. Glutathione, which is the master antioxidant that goes into all your cells, and Eon, which reduces inflammation and takes away
and your mental state too.
and your mental agitation. So these patches, so you could order the performance patch and get X39 and X49 for about $150 a month, and you can order the YH patch. How much does that cost?
Oh, but it came out to $365 or something.
Right. We ended up spending $365 for a month's supply. Now we have to. We might run out because there are two of us. So we kind of like, we fudge it away. But if it's one person, you could get these incredible patches. I know that sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money. But you could share it with a few people. That would take the price away. But the worth, if you think of how much they stole from you for health insurance, how many tens of thousands, the creepazoids, and this actually really helps you, really improves your health. I think it's well worth the money. If you've been vaccinated, if you've been exposed to the chemtrails and you have nanoparticles, I showed you the other day, I'll just show you quickly. This is a friend of mine who lives in the area. This is her blood before taking the patches, and then this is her blood 2 weeks. I can't believe that I have half of me on here. This is after 2 weeks of taking the patches. Her blood looks like this, and she is heavily. I live out here too. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Still, the chemtrails are overhead. May those guys crash and burn. Whoever's doing it, they're getting their stuff from Iran now, we're finding out. I'm sure it goes through California. It has to come in somewhere. So these big shipments of poisonous gas that they're spraying into our atmosphere, may they all go down in flames. The patches are worth it. I think so. I mean, having good health, I just know myself, like this morning, I didn't put on my patches right away. And I didn't have that zing. It just adds a kind of maybe it just gets your light body a little bit activated, and it gives you a little edge, because in essence, the key to living a good life is to activate your higher self. You don't want to live in the reptilian brain. Remember, we have a reptilian brain in us too. That's because they messed with our DNA. That's because these creepazoid reptiles are geneticists. They're highly advanced geneticists, and they tried to hybridize their species, but they can't. Yes, we have the reptile brain. Yes, I mean they have hijacked our consciousness, but we're taking it back. And part of it, in my opinion, is the LifeWave patches. But I appreciate everyone supporting it. I think it's well worth the money. I mean, if you're single, X30, you could get X39 for $90 a month. I would say that's the bare minimum. And by the way, you can get this in every country in the world, and you can reach Dr. Stacey if you're in Norway, if you're in Australia, wherever you are, Indonesia, we will get the patches to you. That's not a consideration. Anyway, yes. So I just wanted to add that, and we really appreciate all the support we've had in this area. I mean, we do not get paid by the like I have 20,000 subscribers now. It's going up a little bit because I'm putting out these short videos, and the numbers go up. 20,000 subscribers on X. What?
Almost 22.
21. I'm sorry, 22.
Almost 22.
Almost 22,000 people on X. I'm not monetized. I don't make a cent from X. Can you believe that? I don't know, Elon, man. What's up with that? I have to have 5 million hits,
3 million.
3 million hits in
3 months.
3 months. So that means I have to have 1 million hits a month. Maybe we're getting close. I don't know. But it just seems a little weird to me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. This is what I do, and I'm going to do it anyway. But we really appreciate the support from Lifeway, because that actually goes into our grocery money. It allows us to buy more patches. And we also invest in another technology that, if you're interested in, come on Thursday. That's something else we really like. But that's it. Grounding does that to your cells connected. You should be able to find a sweat lodge out there. Yeah, I'm a little bit beyond sweat lodges. I spent about 5 years of my life going to sweat lodges on a fairly regular basis, but it's kind of like hallucinogens. I also did a lot of hallucinogens. I no longer really am interested in. I don't really need it. It's kind of like meditating. After a while, life just becomes a meditation, or life becomes a sweat lodge. I mean, okay, so in a sense, I do live in. I mean, if you live in Arizona, you walk out into the sun during a warm day, you're in a sweat lodge. Anyway, yeah. You should link your LifeWave link under your videos so your subscribers can order them from you. Yeah, well, I do. Maybe you don't see it. It's on there right now. So Sonia, you don't see it on YouTube. It says they don't see it on YouTube, but you can text or call Dr. Stacy 812-455-6897. Dr. Stacy 812-455-6897. But I have my website. It's www.lifewave.com/Kabbalah Guru, KABBALAHGURU, or you can call or Gmail Dr. Stacy. But it's on there. It's too bad that you can't see it. Oh, you do see it. Oh, you don't see it. Yeah, maybe on I'm on like 5 different platforms, so it's possible that YouTube. I mean, YouTube is like right now. I'm not. Let's see. Let's see if I stop sharing. I still get on. Like, how could that be? It's just I don't know what's going on here. If I go back, I'm still like this little. I'm so sorry that this is it's quirky. It's really quirky. I get half the screen. Anyway, yeah, that's just the luck of the draw. That's just the internet right now. Restream is a very quirky platform, but the Sweatshard represents the Zohar original story in the physical realms. Yeah, I'm not interested. I mean, personally, like any kind of religious experience right now is just. I was in the Hasidic community for 25 years. Before that, for like 6 years, I was kind of like in a Native American kind of community, maybe a little bit like the Deer Tribe and some other influences. And before that, I was just looking around and tried a lot of different religions. But I'm not into any kind of formal. I don't care about the Zohar. I don't care about Hasidus right now. I really believe right now, and I could change, that going direct, that just being in touch with the force is where it's at for me right now. And not to criticize you, but you need to separate your website and email. Separate my website and email. Yeah, I don't even have my email up here. Um, you need to separate your website and email. Okay, yeah, I know. I'm, if you really want to get the patches, you could go below. I think I posted. I'll try to do better. I'm working on myself. I'm trying to figure this thing out. But at the end of the day, I really appreciate your all your support. The easiest thing is just to text or call Dr. Stacy 812-455-6897. Again, Dr. Stacy, text or call 812-455-6897. You could also I guess people aren't seeing this. I could put up. I also want to remind people, if you could join Daniela and my Instagram. Here's our Instagram. It's QD Chernesky. Is that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that Instagram. If you could join that, we'd appreciate it, because then we can go live on Instagram too. That would be a great help. But yeah, I mean, people are managing to find the product. I'm sorry that I'm not more focused. I'm trying to really improve. My platform seems to be growing. My influence seems to be growing. So I have to utilize my time correctly. I am still trying to build a house, and we're involved in some other projects which we haven't really mentioned, that are very time consuming. Anyway, I'm sorry that I'm not able to share more. Let me just try one more time. See if anything works. Yeah, see, now it's just okay, I could do it this way. So the UN is going bankrupt, NATO's going bankrupt. Captain Kyle is a consistently interesting person to follow. Prices will. This is great. This is Trump at his best. You have to understand that this guy is a genius. He is way beyond. I'm trying to get this off now. Let's see. Okay. He is such a genius, but prices will drop like a rock. You watch POTUS. That's what he's saying, because you don't need oil or gas. Tesla free energy is where we are heading. Where we're headed. Nothing will be the same. Are you ready for the future? Supersonic electric jets, autonomous cars, flying cars, job losses, Jasara, no fear. That's really where we're heading. We're heading for the promised land. That's the bottom line. Everything's going to be changed. Rumble, Mia Greenady, investigation. You need to separate. Okay, you're a lot of fun and good information. Thanks so much. Love you back. She's busy. Yeah, I'll put a dash in it. Okay, I'll try. He's friggin' brilliant. Um, uh, really like Captain Kyle. Yeah, he puts out a lot of good stuff. So let's just see what else. Um, this Elysium. I don't know. Is that a new movie? 2013. Can you write that down, baby?
Yeah, I know.
You know. Okay. We like to watch these movies that tell us what's going on. Make sure this is about. So it turns out declassified archives from CIA confirm that toxic chemicals are in fact being sprayed in our skies. Okay, so that's yeah. The world will soon understand nothing can stop what's coming. Paying taxes to a government where elected officials are representing foreigners instead of Americans is taxation without representation. Spirituality is a personal relationship with the divine. Religion is crowd control. That's an interesting post. Everyone is under the spell. decalcify your pineal gland. I mean, that's something with the life wave. Especially the Alavita patch decalcifies your pineal gland. War correspondent is interesting. CNN just praised Donald Trump's presidency. Remember, they have to that people have to be. Let's see if this comes back. Look at that. I mean, yeah, sorry about that. So people have to be they have to go through the same channels that indoctrinated them to deprogram them. So CNN, which indoctrinated a lot of level 1 people, will be used to deprogram people who are used to getting their information and their way of thinking, their general kavana, their general direction from CNN. Is an old movie that has the med bits, right? That's yeah. Leaving the Matrix. Gotcha. Okay, so let's go to that.
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, we're heading for the promised land. Stopped paying taxes, your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us, hospitals grow like weeds. Moving to paradise, I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control. Left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. leaving the matrix. We're heading for the promised land.
So yeah, that is weird. I don't know how this why it's doing this, but anyway, so it is. So it be so be it. Anyway, thank you so much for coming tonight. Just keep doing what you're doing. We are going through a monumental change. I think that the post in the beginning, the idea that we're coming to the end of the FDR thing. It's so interesting. It never occurred to me because I'm thinking of the Kensico Dam. Did they really build it during the Depression? I don't know. My parents seem to think so. But it looks like a Tartarian. I mean, I don't live there anymore, so I have no idea what has become of these things. But there's so much evidence of the Guggenheim houses. I've actually worked when I was a contractor, worked in some of the Guggenheim. I worked in Guggenheim's mistress's house in Manhasset. I did some work on their house. I mean, go figure. Anyway, it's all good. So thanks for coming tonight. I'm sorry that I haven't figured out. I don't know what's going on with the visuals, but we're in a period of monumental change, and it is a fundamental change of consciousness. It's a change of our understanding of the way. In other words, they made us feel like this is science, this is the world, this is the way it really is. You have to take this medicine, you have to take fluoridated toothpaste, you have to do this, you have to go to these schools, you have to get this, and everything they told us was a lie and was a satanic spell to keep us under control. And now it's gone. The whole thing is cracking. The foundation, the first floor, the second floor, the whole building, like you talk about 9/11, the whole structure is thanks to the persistence and the brilliance of the white hats, is being, it's a controlled demolition. They are taking down this illicit, lying, thieving, criminal structure. They're removing it. They're disabling it piece by piece. They're frantic, like Victor Hansen was saying. They are losing it. They will never regain it again, and so be it. Thank God. May force be with you. May you realize you are force. May you get into the flow of your own force. May you really use the force. May you understand that you are the force. And when you are connected, when you are out of the fear space, you are flowing through your own genius. We all have it. It's not like, well, I'm a really smart dude and everybody else is stupid. That's ridiculous. Everybody has this ability to connect directly to their higher self. That's like, I'm thinking of AA, they say, believe in a higher power. They didn't want to call it anything else because it's so divisive. Well, I call it this and you call it that. I call it potato, you call it potato. It's like, all this nonsense. It's basically, you are the one. You are Neo. And we're at a period where we're just, we're all given the choice, red pill or blue pill. We're all going, it's all happening. And like I said, we won't be here Saturday night. Tomorrow, I don't even know what days of the week have just totally. Tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah. No, I knew it was Wednesday, but it means less and less to me. That's it's very interesting that seems to be occurring for us. It's just every day is Saturday, even when we have to do things that are not so pleasant. Like today, we went into town, which is, it was pleasant enough, but it's not my idea of a really good time. May Source be with you. May you realize that you are connected to Source, and all you have to do is get out of your own way, and you will be rocketed into the upper spiritual realms. Larval World, what's all this about? Oh, this is from Aaron Smith. I'm not sure even what it looks like. Water World, Primus. I'm not. Oh, it looks. I guess you're using a different font. It's getting brighter and brighter every day. I think so, Trinity. I really think so. That's the bottom line. You're right, Trinity. That really says it better than anything I've said. For a fun evening in the info. Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. Hey, Paul Little. In the city I live in presently, there are a lot of basement apartments, Tartarian floods. Interesting. You'll have to tell us more about it. Maybe share some pictures. But it is getting brighter and brighter. There's no way the deep state can come back now. And we're just watching them fall apart, and it's glorious. So tomorrow we'll be doing a broadcast with the Republic, people from the Republic, representatives of the Republic. That will be at 5:00 Eastern Standard Time. Am I right?
No, we go on at 1 o'clock here, so
2, 3, 4:00. So 4:00 Eastern Standard Time, and we might be doing. I think we'll probably be doing the lifestyle channel, where we're talking about LifeWave and another product that we've been interested in lately. At 7:00. Would that be 7 Eastern Time? 7:00 Eastern Time. But we'll be back, God willing, of the regular broadcast. Hopefully, I'll be able to broadcast earlier tomorrow. Thank you for staying up, and yeah. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face. It's all good, man. It is getting better. I think Trinity really nailed it. And rock the world.